Zoom updated
Okay,
everything, and I just guess we can give it a second try.
let's do it.
Let's do it right now. Okay, I
Okay.
try with the same method, but hopefully it works now. So you see the
Yes.
screen now?
Yes, change again.
Yeah.
Working. Yes,
Oh,
perfect.
I love it. So you see, that was where we are. This is the sandwich. This was my time at McKinsey, and this is reflecting system. So I'll just pick it up from where I left, right?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I shared with you, I'm in Italy right now. We talked about Pisa, the Leaning Tower, the architectural fail. And I started sharing about my failing experience with the COVID test. And this is this piece of paper that the doctor gave me after swabbing my nose and throat. And he said, this is where you can retrieve the result digitally. So if you look closely at this little piece of paper, which is just in its ugliness alone, it is an event, you can see that we have a barcode here and we have a QR code there. And we have one number here sitting here, and we have a second number over there. So of course, later, if you go to the website, nothing corresponds to anything that you see on this piece of paper. And it says, put your code in here. And I was like, yeah, which one do you mean? Because the first code is named KD. The next one is named A number. Like A number, is this my code? Yes. I'm not sure. So I tried both and nothing did work. And the website gave something back like, no certificate. Maybe you've misspelled your zero for an O. And it's like, certificate? I wanted to get test results. And everything about the experience was broken. And here am I'm checking this and double checking. And I see that the last digit of this code has been carefully erased with a little ball pen by the doctor. So I called the doctor and asked, what do I have to do? And he said, yeah, this is exactly, yeah, don't take the number that I erased with the ball pen, but all of the numbers before it, and you have to try it again and again and again and again. And then I saw that there was an app, and it's an app that lets you scan the barcode. So I downloaded the app, installed it, scanned the barcodes, and guess what? The app scans both barcodes, which means the QR code and the barcode, which means it points you to the website where you can't find, it looks for the certificate. This is how they call it, the certificate there. And of course, it doesn't retrieve it. So according to the app, still no result. But according to the online version, I could retrieve my certificate to be corona-free and to be able to travel. And at the border, they did not check it. So this is a little story about a fail that was not my own fail, but I wanted to share this first. And I want also to tell you that this just shows me that our discipline is needed. We are needed. UX can really save the world. And I think the medical sector needs us. The political world needs us. We should be present and out there and make things better. So I want to share 3 stories of fail with you in the next 10 minutes. And the first story of fail is from a long time ago, the time when I was at IBM in the Netherlands. And we did a project for a situation similar to this one. So this is a beautiful photo from Unsplash depicting an IT help desk. And we did a project for a help desk in the citizens office. So where the citizens of Amsterdam can call if they have questions around things like parking tickets or signs, street signs, or taxes for dogs, stuff like that. And we built quite a platform for this help desk for this municipality of Amsterdam. And one aspect of it was a sort of a Wikipedia thing where you could look up information very quickly. So this was to inform the workers at the help desk if they have to search for information when someone is on the phone quickly. And we made it very nice and modular, so it was really easy to retrieve the information of the amount of tax you have to pay for a certain type of dog, for example, and when to pay it and to whom and so forth. And my job was the UX guy. So I designed nice buttons and form elements and looked after the right color scheme and tried to make some nice typography on this as well. And as I was, at someday I was finished with my work and my software development colleagues were still working on it, I asked the project manager if it would be okay if I went over to this place where they will work with our software and talk to the people there and just see how they operate right now without our software to get an impression. He said, yeah, sure, why not? So I traveled there, about 2 kilometers bike ride, which is fantastic. And I went there and I sat in a room which looks quite a bit like this room, but it was a bit darker and more female people working. And I asked whether I could just shadow them and be there for an hour and a half. And it was cool with them. And I sat next to a lady and followed what she was doing. And when we took a coffee break, I asked her, so I never actually saw you look up any information. Why don't you do that? And she said, oh, well, if you work here after 2 weeks, you know everything. We never look shit up anyway. We don't do that. So I went back to my team and I said, you know what? We're doing this here. We are building something that no one will use, because this is just not how it works in the IT help desk. They don't look up information, and we departed on the wrong assumption here. But of course, you know, working in a big tech environment, did we stop working on this? No, because we were almost finished. So we finished this, followed our contract, finished the promised software, delivered it, shipped it, and everyone was happy after that. But we knew that in the essence, it was a fail because we built something that no one will ever use. Fail story number 2 is about my time with Eden Spiekermann, with the design agency. And I was part of a team developing all sorts of digital products, and we got this fantastic assignment from a startup that just has started a new startup. And it was about ebooks. So this is about, I think, 12 years ago or 11 years ago. We talked about it like the Netflix of ebooks, you know, building this thing. And you know, these services are out there. But this was something at that time where we said, we will revolutionize the market. And we did a great job of developing a very distinguishable and fantastic brand. We gave it a fantastic name. I will not show you all of that to protect the innocent, but I think it was a really, really good project. And we built all of that. And in the end, it turned out that the business logic behind it did not work out. The cost of acquisition for every new user was so high that there was just no real business case for this to take off. So we had developed this whole product, all of the screens, all of this experience to find new books, to read them, to have a fantastic reading experience for an audience that does not exist, because we had to see, we built something that has no business reason to exist. And now, of course, you can ask yourself, well, is it our job as a design team to delve into the business model? And do we really have to ask how does it work, and what is the reasoning? And I think it's debatable, but I would say yes, we should, and yes, we should know, at least on a superficial level, how the business working behind the product that we help to develop, how this really works. So in my personal book, although it was a fantastic project that we showed off in our portfolio for a long time, I think it was a fail. Fail story number 3 is super recent. And this is also where the title comes from, because I did a big fail in a time where I think I should have known better. And that was only last year. As I said, I'm now working with my own consultancy. And of course, I work a lot together with other networks. And one of those networks, we had the idea to sit together and deliver a training, to develop a training program on leadership. And we said, this is going to be a special program, because it's not about all of those leadership programs that are associated with digital transformation, where we talk a lot about digital ways of working and agile ways and all of what we know about the development of digital products and services. No, we assume all of that is given. We are targeting this program to people who are already completely digital in the way they approach things, but they want to learn about leadership, about the good old idea of what it takes to be a good leader, and everything that has to be said about this. And so we built this nice one-pager. I said to my colleagues, I've got this. I know what we're going to do. We're building this nice one-pager, and we are going to explain our offering in detail. all of the modules. It was conceived as a 3-module thing with 3 weeks, so 9 weeks in total, with sessions that are synchronous and asynchronous. Everything online, of course, because it was not an in-person meeting. And we talked about ourselves, the 3 oldish white dudes that are going to deliver it, you know, male, pale, stale, I have learned. This was our concept. And we had this one pager, and this whole thing is going to cost only 5,400 euros for the whole like 9 weeks experience. And I had my favorite former colleague and illustrator developed this beautiful little animation that you see here on the left-hand side, which is like, we only developed it for this because we thought that was so amazing. And in the end, what was the fail? The fail was that this, the people who pushed on this, yes, tell me more, I'm interested, I want to book this training, this amount of people was exactly 0. No one wanted to buy our offering. Is that a UX fail? I think the one pager is pretty sweet. No, it is a UX fail because we did not understand that when it appeals to us, that doesn't mean it appeals to other people. We did not think from the end user perspective. After all those years being in the business, I failed to think about the end user perspective. And I can tell you that sucked big time for me. So what did I learn? From the first that I told you, I learned that we need to find out how our product will be used. So when, how, where, why, who is using it, and especially the circumstances. If we can go there, let's go there. And even if we go there via Zoom, and if we can talk to people for whom we intend the products, let's do that before we start building them. The next thing is understand the business foundation of your product. This is something that came out of the second fail I told you about, that we really want to understand how this can work from a business aspect. So we deliver something of value. And in the end, this is my personal takeaway after what happened last year. I really should always go back to square one and start with who's the audience? What's the market like? Is there a real need for what we actually are building? And with that, I want to tell you, carry on, keep on failing, keep on learning. And I think we will never outgrow that. We will never be beyond that. We will always fail anew, and hopefully we'll learn from it. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Robert. I have a question about your first fail. How come? How come you continued working on it if you knew that no one needs it?
Because
why does that go? Why is that?
Yeah, thank you. That's a very
flow?
good question. Because as I told you, maybe it was not so clear from my story, that was a very, very late in the process where I had this idea, oh, I've kind of finished all of my tasks, and what should I do this afternoon? Or maybe I visit them. You know, it was kind of just an idea at the end of the project at the worst time possible.
Ah.
And then when I talked to my colleagues, they all went like, oh, yeah, that sucks, but let's finish it anyways. I mean, we just want to fulfill that contract, right?
I see. Okay. Thank you. One more question before we move on. Anyone's brave enough to say hello? Oh.
Hi.
Okay.
I have a question.
Who's
No,
this?
Cynthia. Tobias is the name of my husband. I use his account.
Okay.
My name is Cynthia. So, Chris is from Germany. And the thing is, it's about the first case. Like, I also had the same question, like how this happened, but especially what will you do now with all the knowledge and all the experience, part of this, the tips that you just gave us, to avoid this first mistake that you had with this project?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the essential thing is that we all know, or we assume we know what to do, but often we fail to just do it. So the thing is like, sit down in the beginning and think about, okay, let's think about our audience. Who are they? Where are they? Can I visit them? Can I talk to them? Can I get an idea of the real world situation in which my product will apply?
Okay, because failure is success if we learn from it. Okay, moving on. Thank you, Robert.